Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Nolan. So for anyone that knows me, I really don't have any original thoughts. I'll see something that looks fun, somebody doing something interesting and original, and I'll think, oh, why don't I give it a try? I mean, it doesn't seem that hard. What I've been into lately on YouTube have been video essays, whether it be movies, games, TV shows, something revolving around that form of media. With that being said, there's one game in particular that holds a very special place in my heart, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love, and I'll go into the reasons why. But yeah, basically to jump into it, that game is so for some context, my parents got me the Sega Genesis for me when I was 5. And, you know, I had your normal lineup. I had your Sonics. I had your Toe Jam and Earl. X-Men 2 Clone Wars. Aladdin. F that lava level, by the way. Look, I'm sure a lot of my appreciation for this game comes from the fact that I was a huge animated series fan at the time. But don't hold that against my review of this game, okay? It's still, it stands on its own. I think I would appreciate this game even if I wasn't a fan of the animated series, but there's no way to know that because I am a huge fan. The game itself was gorgeous. The gameplay was so choice. The soundtrack was phenomenal. I mean, we'll get into that shortly though. The game was released here in the US in November of 1994, which was near the end of the life cycle for the Sega Genesis. Sega Saturn will be released just 6 months later, and PlayStation shortly after that, which I think played a part in the game not getting much attention, I would say. The game was designed by Clockwork Tortoise, which, actually, I'm not sure what else they did. Way to go, Nolan. Actually put some friggin' research in this. Idiot. So it looks like Clockwork Tortoise was a short-lived development studio created by former employees of Malibu Interactive. I'm not familiar with them either. It looks like this was the only game they made. They had a game called X-Women: The Sinister Virus, which was apparently unreleased, so. Clearly the game was based off the critically acclaimed animated series that premiered in 1992. I'm not going to get into the anime series because so many other videos have done that so much more eloquently and more in detail than I ever could. Let's talk about some gameplay. Every level felt completely different with its own set of challenges. The game itself was a run and gun type, similar to Contra, with most of the levels moving you from left to right. You controlled Batman through 11 levels and 9 boss fights that were all fan-freaking-tastic. You had a level where you were in the middle of a downtown high-speed car chase. You took to the skies on your Bat Glider. You battled the Mad Hatter on some Rainbow Road higher plane of existence type shit. In addition to just punching and kicking people, as Batman does, you had 3 weapon options in the game which could be obtained, upgraded by picking up one of those colored bat coins. My personal favorite, the Batarangs, which when you upgraded would give you a spread shot. The Bolos, which would get bigger as you collected more coins, and the Shurikens, which I lovingly refer to as blue sparkles. These weapon options, including some other items like the screen-clearing skull, the quick charge power-up, gave you a number of ways to tackle every level. You could also obtain extra lives by either breaking open trash cans or completing a certain task in a certain time. Forgot to mention that if you had an awesome cousin, they could drop in as a Robin, aka Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing, aka the Boy Wonder, aka Chris O'Donnell. Now on the story front, you got your basic Arkham Breakout orchestrated by Mr. Freeze. So you had to round up Harley, Joker, Two-Face, Mad Hatter, and finally Schwarzenegger himself. Another Batman and Robin reference, okay. What I like about the story is that this time around Mr. Freeze was front and center. You know, I feel like normally in your Batman video games you're going to position the Joker as the arch villain, which he is, but I'm glad that Mr. Freeze got time to shine. And this time around, you had the looming threat of Gotham entering a new ice age, so I respect that. Let's get into the music. If we take a quick spin over to the SNES, they got their own version of an animated series game, complete with kind of an official score that was based off of the show theme. Not bad. But Genesis is going to drop this on you. And this. And this. Now, a guy by the name of Jesper Kyd composed the soundtrack for this game, and this was the 6th time he had written a score for a video game. He actually went on to score some other popular video games, including the Hitman games, the Assassin's Creed games, and most recently some of the Warhammer games. This dude gave us some of the sickest electronica beats then and even by today's standards. I mean, this is some shit Blade can get down to, okay? Yeah, the game has sound effects, but the music is in the foreground. It's driving you through every level, every moment, and it's creating a wholly original atmosphere. No Batman game before or after has sounded like this. And its SNES counterpart is... you get some drier moments in that game. Just listen to this drop during the Mad Hatter boss fight, alright? Is Jesper Kyd an alias for Deadmau5? God dang! This is one of those perfect action games of the 90s. It came around at the height of the animated series, and it was able to push the Genesis graphically and musically. Now, I know there have been plenty of Batman games over the years, some good. Some not so good.
Don't make your presence known until you've become a wraith in their minds.
But some that are also just batshit insane, like the Batman Forever arcade game. Check that out if you haven't, because that's a trip. I guess what it comes down to is the Adventures of Batman and Robin on the Sega Genesis. It might not have your traditional Batman themes. It might not make you feel like you're Batman, but freaking A, man, I love this game, and that's why I slapped this together. I wanted to show it the appreciation that it deserves. Obviously, it's meant a lot to me in my life. I remember my cousin and I. It was basically the first game that I can remember beating. It was just awesome. I also want to point out that it's no slouch when it comes to trying to beat this game in one sitting. I mean, yeah, you can do it now, but as a kid, it was daunting, and there was no password system. So unlike the SNES counterpart, unlike Mega Man and other games at the time, there was no way to save your progress. You had to beat it in one sitting. So in closing, I love this game a lot. If you have a Sega Genesis or an emulator, I highly recommend you picking this game up, trying it out, finding some way to play it, because even by today's standards, I feel like it still holds up really well, and it's I go back to it every once in a while. It's a lot of fun, a lot of good memories there. Like I said, I mean I have the soundtrack in my iTunes. I usually put something on every once in a while. But thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna see if I keep feeling like making these. I feel like I have some ideas on the table, so stay tuned.
What's that stand for?
Robin.